Somewhere on this planet, right now, an animal's eyes are watering. A dog in the wind. A cow chewing grass in the sun. Even a crocodile, mid-meal, producing what looks like tears. None of them are sad. None of them are grieving, remembering, or overwhelmed. Their eyes water for one reason only: maintenance. Lubrication. Biological plumbing. Then there's us. Somewhere else on this planet, right now, a human is crying, not from wind, not from dust, but from a memory. A loss. A joy too big to hold in silently. And here is the strange part: scientists have spent decades trying to explain. No other species on Earth does this. Not chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. Not elephants, famous for mourning their dead. Not dolphins, not wolves, not one of the roughly 8 million species we share this planet with. Only humans turn an invisible internal feeling into a visible, meaningful liquid signal. It sounds like a design flaw. It blurs your vision at the exact moment emotion overwhelms you. It makes you look vulnerable in front of people you may need to compete with, impress, or fight. So here's the question we're solving today. How did the most vulnerable-looking act in the animal kingdom become one of the greatest evolutionary advantages our species ever developed? Have you ever wondered why humans are the only species that cry from emotion? The answer has nothing to do with weakness, and everything to do with survival. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at tears the same way again. And if you enjoy documentaries that uncover the hidden science and history behind being human, subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. Before we can understand why we cry, we need to understand what tears actually are, because most of what leaves your eyes has nothing to do with emotion at all. Scientists divide tears into 3 categories. Basal tears are the constant, invisible film keeping your eyes moist every second of the day. Reflex tears are the flood triggered by onion fumes or a speck of dust, a pure chemical defense mechanism, and one plenty of animals share. But the third kind, psychic tears, the ones triggered by grief, relief, or overwhelming joy, appear to be uniquely, meaningfully human. This is the paradox at the center of our story. In evolutionary terms, a trait that survives for hundreds of thousands of years has to be earning its keep. But crying seems to cost us. It blurs vision at exactly the moment we might need to think clearly or act fast. It's a visible admission of vulnerability in a world that often rewards the appearance of strength. So why didn't natural selection breed it out of us in a single generation? The answer, it turns out, isn't found in the tear itself, it's found in the world our ancestors were crying in. Early humans were not the apex predator. They were mid-sized, slow, thin-skinned primates surrounded by animals built to kill efficiently: big cats, hyenas, wolves. In that world, sound could be turned against you. A loud wail of distress doesn't just call for help. It broadcasts your exact location to anything hungry enough to be listening. Most primates still accept this risk. Chimpanzees rely heavily on vocal distress calls, betting that rescue by the troop outweighs the danger of being overheard. But researchers studying the evolution of tears propose that our ancestors developed something different, a visual signal instead of an audible one. A tear-streaked face can be read up close, in a shelter, across a small fire, by the specific people who matter, without carrying across open grassland to whatever is stalking it. It's a silent flare, visible only to the people meant to see it. The biochemistry supports this. Biochemist William Frey's research in the 1980s found that emotional tears carry a different chemical signature than reflex tears, including elevated stress-related compounds tied to the body's ACTH stress response, not found in tears triggered by simple irritation. When you cry from grief, your body may be doing 2 things simultaneously, sending a silent signal outward, and discharging stress chemically at the same time. A distress call and a release valve, folded into a single drop of water. A signal only matters if someone responds to it, and this is where meaningful crying reveals its second function. When we witness someone cry, something happens in our brain we don't consciously control. Researchers point to mirror neuron activity, circuitry that fires both when we act and when we watch someone else act, as part of why seeing tears can generate something close to a shared emotional state in the observer. You don't just see the tear. You feel an echo of it. More importantly, tears carry something words can't fake as easily: honesty. A spoken claim of distress can be exaggerated or rehearsed. A tear is far harder to manufacture on command. In one striking set of experiments, photos of crying faces had their tears digitally removed, and observers consistently rated the exact same face as less sad, less genuine, less in need of help. The tear itself was doing communicative work that expression alone couldn't replace. Scale this up across a band of 20 or 30 early humans, and shared weeping during death, birth, or a narrow escape from danger becomes more than release. It becomes ritual. Groups that met visible vulnerability with comfort, rather than exploitation, built the high-trust bonds that let a physically fragile species survive against impossible odds. Meaningful crying wasn't just an SOS. It was the glue holding the tribe together. Tears didn't just build alliances, they may have stopped tribes from destroying themselves from within. In any close social group, conflict is inevitable, and in small prehistoric bands, unchecked aggression could be lethal to a population that couldn't afford to lose members. Seeing someone cry appears to measurably inhibit aggression in the observer. It's difficult to escalate a fight against someone visibly, uncontrollably distressed. The tear interrupts the aggression response before it peaks. Crying, in this light, isn't weakness. It's one of the most effective de-escalation tools our species ever evolved, a white flag more universally understood than any spoken language. And it works internally, too. That familiar sense of exhaustion but calm after a good cry isn't just a figure of speech. Crying is linked to a shift in the nervous system, from high-alert sympathetic arousal toward the calmer, restorative parasympathetic state. The same mechanism that de-escalates conflict between two people also de-escalates the war happening inside one. Here's the problem: this entire system evolved for face-to-face contact, and increasingly, we don't live that way. A growing share of daily communication now happens through screens, texts, video calls, comment threads, channels that strip out the exact signal we spent 100,000 years refining. A crying face emoji carries none of the chemical honesty, none of the mirrored neural response, none of the real-time trust building of an actual tear witnessed in person. This isn't a fringe concern. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness a public health epidemic, citing health risks comparable to smoking daily. Around the same time, the World Health Organization identified social isolation as a pressing global health priority, a signal that this isn't a uniquely American problem, but one playing out across Europe and much of the developed world. More contact than any generation in history, and less of the deep, trust-building signal our species evolved specifically to run on. Call it a quiet loss of tear sinking, the face-to-face vulnerability loop that once turned strangers into tribes. So the next time your eyes well up, in grief, in relief, in overwhelming joy, remember what's actually happening. You're not malfunctioning. You're not weak. You're running a communication system perfected over 100,000 years. A silent alarm predators never learned to hear. A trust-building ritual older than language itself. A ceasefire more effective than any weapon ever built. In a world quietly forgetting how to be vulnerable in front of each other, reclaiming the right to cry, openly, honestly, in front of another human being, isn't a retreat. It's a return to the oldest, most successful survival strategy our species ever developed. If this changed the way you'll think about your next tear, let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more science-backed deep dives into the hidden evolutionary reasons behind human behavior. There's a lot more where this came from.